Please tell us your chosen number.
10, please. Number 10.
Okay, number 10. So question number 1. Who of the following people did not attend the first National Congress of the CPC in 1921? A. 毛泽东 B. 董必武 C. 李大钊
C.
Yes, correct. Number 2. Which sea does the Yellow River flow into? A. Yellow Sea B. East China Sea C. 渤海 Sea
C.
Yes, correct. Number 3. Who was the longest serving president in the U.S. history? A. Abraham Lincoln B. Franklin Roosevelt C. Thomas Jefferson
B.
Correct. Number 4. Which country borders Germany in the south? A. Poland B. Sweden C. Austria
B.
Sorry, the correct answer is C. Number 5. In a masculine society, people tend to value competition, achievement, and A. Assertiveness B. Sympathy C. Caring for others
A.
Correct. Number 6. Which of the following statements about culture is wrong? A. Culture is a symbolic system that can be learned. B. Culture is stable and remains relatively the same throughout the human history. C. Culture can be seen as what people need to know in order to act appropriately in a given culture.
B.
Correct.
All right, so we have your final score, which is 2.5. You may now proceed.
Sophie is an American lady, or you can call her Kang Shuya, which is her Chinese name. She's now teaching in Sichuan University and has gained popularity both online and off. And during her class, she talked about One Belt, One Road initiative. She talked about traditional Chinese classics such as Hua Mulan. However, she found that there has been misunderstandings, conflicts, and cultural discount during her class. So, Mike, how do you understand such cultural phenomenon?
Yes, there are a lot of interesting cultural phenomena and also some conflicts in this video. And I wanted to use the power distance and individualism and collectivism, which is from Jed Hofstad's six cultural dimension theory, and also cultural synergy to better illustrate what we have saw in this video. Firstly, we can see that the moment when Sophia entered the classroom, she just told the students that today we will divide our class into two parts. Firstly, I talk, and secondly, you give me a presentation. And different from the traditional Chinese class, she values the equal treatment of everyone. Although she's the teacher and seems to more superior, she still reckons that everyone should have the obligation or right to talk something or to express their opinion. And I think this is because she comes from a low power distance culture, and that is America, right? Besides, in an Occidental class, students are more likely to have the teamwork, or they are just have the intention to do that. However, for the Chinese students, they focus more on their own achievements, like get high scores in the examination. And I think maybe in the field of study, Chinese students are more individualistic. They think that be responsible for themselves, and that is enough. And for the Westerners, they chase more for the cooperation. What's more, we can see that Sophia is really welcomed in the classroom. Every student said, your class is really interesting. And I think this is the achievement of cultural synergy. She just combined the Western culture and Eastern culture together and made every student interested in what she has taught in the classroom. However, we can still see that there exists conflicts, just like the Sophia has mentioned in her class, that many Chinese cultures are being ignored by the lack of interest of those foreigners. And it seems that our culture are facing a really severe cultural shock in the world. And Amy, could you please help us to break down such obstacles that in front of the spreading of Chinese culture, please?
Okay, Mike. So previously, we view the world only from single perspective, which limits our horizon to have more contact with people from all over the world, as well as hindering ourselves to tell China stories in an attractive and precise way. So now we just change those perspectives. We let a foreign teacher to tell those students Chinese, the Chinese history, philosophy, traditions, etc. So we can tell that this is beyond of our frames of reference, and it can help us better build the correlations between ourselves and those foreign people. So in other words, we'll break down the walls between different countries and different cultures. We'll build more bridges which help us to have access to those diverse cultures. And secondly, as the video has mentioned that previously, those foreign students only want to learn about those British cultures, the European cultures, which are regarded as those dominant cultures in today's world. But now, with the Sophia's help and other foreign teachers' help, actually those students are trying to change their mind. They transform their stereotypes and a sense of ethnocentrism into a more open-minded, tolerant, and ethno-relative way. So actually, our actions, which encourage other foreigners to break out of the trap of cultural superiority or inferiority, and also help them to seek more perspectives on cultural differences. What's more, the teacher mentioned in the video that many people often mistranslated the Chinese culture due to their lack of knowledge. And such will cause a lot of indifference, misunderstandings, and sometimes even hatred toward our Chinese cultures. So she just engaged in her career life to diminish such stereotypes and discrimination through teaching her students the real Chinese cultures. And we can tell from this phenomena that many foreign students and foreign teachers are also doing so and try to make the whole world become more harmonious. And only through learning the real Chinese cultures could they finally come up with an objective, and sometimes they will be even fascinated with Chinese cultures. So last but not least, we can tell from this video that actually this teacher provides her students so many chances to talk, to share their stories from different point of views. And I think this is essential not only because it can better impress those students, establishing their understandings toward Chinese cultures, but also help us, like by getting their feedbacks, to improve our teaching methods, maybe to encourage not only our Chinese students, but also those foreign students to become the messengers to tell China stories through cultural synergy. So, Rachel, what's your opinion toward this video?
Well, I was deeply impressed by Sophie's words and his deeds, because these days, the dilemma of being alone together is a global issue. Extreme views, Cold War mentality, zero-sum game have divided the world into us and them. Even if China's people's warm-heartedness have remained the same, we could be perceived differently. So it's not enough for us to simply tell China stories. We should tell the stories of developing countries by building cultural empathy, because we share the same history of being silenced, invaded, and unequally treated. We must tell the stories of the whole world by advocating the shared future for mankind. Because just like what Sophie said in the video, we all share the same identity. Even if we have different skin colors, we speak different languages, and we have different cultural backgrounds. Only by doing so could we make full use of cultural synergy. Could we tell stories that pervade? Could we tell stories that win people's hearts throughout the world? And finally, really create a shared future for mankind. Thank you.
Thank you for your analysis, and I'm thinking about your suggestions of how to use Hofstede's power distance and individualism cultural synergy, ethno-relativism to overcome stereotypes. So I'm wondering how to apply these if you were Sophia Kidd. So my question is, if you were to be teaching a class like this, what are several intercultural ways that you could teach deeper awareness and appreciation of our own Chinese classical and cultural heritage?
Thank you for your question. So it's very essential for us to get to know that we have to tell China stories not only from our own perspectives, but also we should put ourselves into others' shoes to tell China stories in a precise way. So I think I have the following solutions. The first one is I should definitely like my students to be enough sensitive to cultural differences. Because sometimes, even we learn the different languages about other cultures, we don't have such sensitiveness to deal with the conflicts when we are communicating with others. For example, there is a famous quote means someone is rotten. Everything is rotten in Denmark, which means everything is in a mess. However, like in the European conference, a translator just say it directly, which provoked the staff of Denmark. It means that he's not sensitive enough to show the respect of another country. So it is really important for us to be cautious of such differences. And the second one, I believe, is that we should establish effective communication with others, which means that we should not only share our stories, tell our point of views in our perspectives, but also we should listen to others. Because it is really important that we learn from others. We reflect our behaviors, whether we provoke others, whether we're done something that we thought it is respectful, but actually it is not. So when teaching those students, it is definitely very crucial for us to alert them. These things are very important, and we should pay attention to it. And I believe only through by applying to those two ways in the real society could we finally reach to the success and harmonious community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now you'll be telling the Chinese story. And the topic for you is, please choose one of China's world intangible cultural heritage items in the category of knowledge and practices about nature and the universe, and introduce it to a foreign friend. For example, 太极拳, the 24 solar terms, knowledge in China of time and practices developed through observation of the sun's annual motion, acupuncture and moxibustion of traditional Chinese medicine, traditional tea processing techniques and associated social practices in China, and Lam medicinal bathing of Soa Rigpa, knowledge and practices concerning life, health, and illness prevention and treatment among the Tibetan people in China.
I want to begin with a story. Wasimba is one of the impoverished and underdeveloped African villages that rely heavily on crops as their primary source of food and income. The people there were really desperate because they were trapped in a seemingly inescapable cycle of being able to provide just barely enough food for its starving residents with no hopes of ever upgrading their farming infrastructure, making long-term investments, and most importantly, cure people of diseases. A large majority of men and women died in an early stage of life because they had no technologies and they had no money to buy those medicines. However, things changed in the year 2011 because a group of technical experts from traditional Chinese Medicine University and China Agricultural University were sent to African countries with one clear focus in their mind, which is helping people there revolutionize their hometown and, more importantly, cure people of diseases using traditional Chinese medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, traditional Chinese medicine has always been a shiny part in Chinese cultural heritage because it represents two important things. Firstly, it prioritizes the concept of we rather than the concept of I. Today, the trouble with search engine filters, WeChat friends, browsing the news by narrowcasting rather than broadcasting, means that we're surrounded by people like us, whose views, whose prejudices are just like ours. We tend to shut out contrary voices and avoid ever questioning our basic assumptions. Extreme views are given powerful microphones. People willing to exploit fear and skepticism have tools at their disposal that were unimaginable before. However, using traditional Chinese medicine has taught us an important lesson that even if we speak different languages, we have different skin colors, and we have different cultural backgrounds, we are the same in terms of saving people's life, and we are the same of building a community. Secondly, it represents cooperation. We know that we can be the generation that ends poverty, that ends disease. But no country can fight climate change or prevent pandemics or help people or save people's lives alone. Progress now requires coming together, not just as cities or nations, but also as a global community. Because just like Martin Luther King once said, all life is interrelated. We are bound together into a single garment of destiny. Now, I still carry the lessons that I learned from Wasimba with me wherever I go. I believe with the efforts of building One Belt, One Road initiative, with our efforts of building a shared future for humanity, we could all cooperate with each other and prioritize the concept of we. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your performance.